This is the Real Digital Transformation podcast series, empowering technology and business professionals to succeed with digital transformation. Now, here's your host, best-selling author Thomas Earl.
So different organizations have different priorities, different business goals, and operate in different markets, which means that different businesses have different types of business problems. Digital transformation as a whole addresses a common set of problems that a lot of organizations have faced historically. Today we'll be focusing on the top 6 business problems solved by successful digital transformation. Not every organization has all of these problems, and for some, certain problems will be of a greater priority than others. But regardless, it's important for us to understand the reason organizations are investing and succeeding with digital transformation by overcoming problems and challenges and obstacles they've had in the past to achieving their goals, and problems that may have stood in the way unbeknownst to the organization of growing beyond their potential. The first problem we're going to be focusing on is losing touch with customer communities. Historically, organizations that have been very successful in certain markets established themselves very well in those markets, in that they had the top products or the lowest prices, or they had certain supply chain or distribution channels that gave them a level of exclusivity or just dominance within a certain market, meaning that frequently customers had nowhere else to go to get what they wanted, or to get what they wanted at a certain price or in a certain manner. Those types of markets, as a result of digital transformation, have been opening up more frequently because of organizations being able to take lines of business online and offer products or services in markets that they never have been able to reach before, or offer those products and services in markets in a manner or at a price that they were never able to offer before, has allowed increased competition in those markets. That's the whole disruptive nature and influence of digital transformation today. So consequently, organizations that have more or less taken their customer base for granted because they've been so established in their respective markets now have to rethink that approach, and may have regretted not paying closer attention to customer preferences, customer feedback, and other types of trends and statistics they could have been collecting about their customer base to better understand how satisfied customers have actually been with what they've been doing. Organizations that enter new markets disruptively do so with the intention of taking customers away from others. And so they do their homework. They look at a market, they see weaknesses in how existing businesses operate, and they target those weaknesses with how they intend to establish themselves as competitors. By the time that happens, it's often too late for existing organizations to respond quickly to those new influences in the market. And by the time they can then catch up to look at their customers more closely and to see how they can improve how they relate to their customers, and to perhaps even adopt digital transformation in an effort to be on par with their new competitors, by the time all that happens, they will have lost a fair share of their existing customer base already. So losing touch with your customer community has been a significant problem that organizations have had to overcome and have propelled them into digital transformations perhaps more rapidly than if they had thought it through ahead of time, if they had stayed in touch with what other businesses are doing, not just in their market, but internationally in other markets, and perhaps adopt the digital transformation sooner. Regardless, an organization that is now looking at the consequences of not having stayed in touch with their customer community can take action. They can look at what digital transformation can do to their organization internally, what it can do to their presence externally to customers, and they can do their best to now improve any areas that require improvement in order to better connect with customers, in order to become more customer-centric, and in order to improve their underlying automation solutions and their online presence to provide the very best products and services they can to their customer base in order to work on regaining the customers they've lost and perhaps even going beyond that to attract new customers. The second business problem we're going to take a look at is an inability for a business to grow within an existing marketplace. And this is a bit different from the first business problem in that we're not talking necessarily about having to make up for lost customers, but instead, when a business plateaus in a stale marketplace, it does so often because that marketplace itself has become somewhat static with regards to all those that operate within it. Not every business dominates the marketplace that it has existed in for a long period of time. There are successful businesses that have been coexisting within markets where each has their own share of the customer community, and each has been relatively complacent with that status, but as a result, neither has grown significantly over time. I mean, there are shifts here and there, but organizations often need to grow in order to fulfill their goals, in order to satisfy shareholders and stakeholders, and in order to realize their potential. So in stale marketplaces where that has not been happening, digital transformation offers an opportunity for organizations to break away from those that have become relatively static and excel and outperform others. And one of the keys to doing so is the data intelligence that digital transformation solutions can collect, that data science systems in particular can provide both human decision makers, executives with decision-making responsibilities, and that data science systems can also provide to the solutions themselves to better automate what they are responsible for automating, but also perhaps to even automate some of the decision-making themselves. So let's back up. The data intelligence that can now be collected with digital transformation solutions, with artificial intelligence, neural networks, machine learning, big data analytics, all of that collectively, however it applies to a given business and what it does within a certain market, and however it applies to the data that can be collected about all the other businesses that operate within that market, as well as all of the customers that are part of that market. All of the insights we can gain from studying all of those individual elements and providing insights to decision makers about how things are trending, how things have been historically and where they are going, and coming up with predictions and providing true deep level analysis results that can help decision makers understand what opportunities exist for their business to grow beyond where they have been. Those are valuable opportunities we now have to make all that happen. So what this means is that even organizations within an existing business market can disrupt that market. It's not just about pioneering organizations entering new markets. It's also about organizations within existing communities breaking out from their position, their historical position within those communities, and themselves growing beyond others that they have coexisted with. And there are genuine opportunities to do so, especially when other players within a given market have not yet looked carefully at the opportunities to themselves grow beyond others. So digital transformation provides that opportunity. A successful digital transformation will introduce a lot of new tools, a lot of new insights, and a lot of new opportunities to improve how the organization itself automates, to improve how cost-effective it can be, and to improve what it can offer customers to increase their satisfaction, to increase their loyalty, and to offer products and services that are more attractive than they have been historically, and to do all that with the goal of outperforming others within that market. The next business problem addressed by digital transformation is the inability of organizations to adapt to change responsively. Organizations are accustomed to adapting to change. Change is a natural part of just about any business community. There can be new competitors that try to enter a market. There can be new regulations that organizations have to adhere to. There can be environmental disasters that severely impact a given market. There can be other unforeseen circumstances that come in organizations' way, such as key employees retiring or internal security breaches that may have compromised certain areas of an organization's business. All kinds of unforeseen circumstances and factors can hit an organization over time. That's nothing new. What is important now is the organization's ability to adapt to marketplaces and to unforeseen change in a responsive manner. By being more responsive, the organization can remain more competitive than others that may already be able to adapt to business change in an agile manner. So, digital transformation introduces an environment, once it's been successfully achieved, that increases an organization's ability to become more responsive to change, to be able to more rapidly adapt to change. The automation solutions that can be introduced by a digital transformation have the opportunity of improving the efficiency at which the organization operates, improving its reliability, while also increasing how cost-effective the organization can operate at. All of these factors help the organization better adapt to change. Furthermore, the data intelligence that the organization has at its disposal help the organization better anticipate how markets may be changing or how influences that are occurring in markets, such as new regulations, such as new competitors, or even environmental conditions that may be impacting an organization's ability to operate. Data intelligence provided by well-designed data science systems can help an organization navigate through those types of changes more effectively and more rapidly. So, digital transformation itself, the environment that it establishes, helps improve an organization's ability to be organizationally agile. So we talked about losing touch with customer communities as one of the problems that digital transformation can help us with. A more specific aspect of that is the nature of the relationships we have had or we may currently have with our customers themselves. Our customers may leave us for our competitors when they find better pricing or better services or better quality products. But what if that is not the determining factor? What if our competitors are simply providing customers with improved experiences, with greater satisfaction in how they interact with the organization, and with an objective to foster greater customer loyalty. All of these aspects are part of how we design digital transformation solutions. Customer centricity for most organizations is an inherent strategic goal of a digital transformation. We don't just look to improve automation or how cost effective we are or how many new markets we can enter. We do all that while keeping in mind that the customers and the relationships that we establish with them are ultimately the greatest strategic assets that we will focus on collecting, building, and growing. So, a significant problem that digital transformation helps us address is cold customer relationships that we may have been maintaining over time that we now have to improve and add warmth to. And by that I mean establishing relationships not just based on improved services and improved products, but establishing relationships with our customers based on improved insights we have as to what they really want and need and are looking for, and what we need to do to improve their satisfaction and maintain their loyalty. And all that comes down to the data intelligence we collect as a result of making our organization, our automation solutions, and our cultural attitude more customer-centric. So, overcoming cold customer relationships and building warm, long-lasting customer relationships is a significant strategic goal of digital transformations and a primary problem area addressed. The last two problem areas we're going to look at are inefficient operations and inefficient decision-making. They somewhat go hand in hand, but let's focus first on overcoming the problem of inefficient operations. Automation is nothing new for most organizations. We've been automating our business processes in highly effective manners for many years now, using contemporary technology to do so. Digital transformation introduces a set of technologies, some of which are new, some of which are established but have become more modernized, and allows us to combine distinct parts of those technology innovations in a way that we can target areas to further improve and enhance how we automate what we've already been automating for many years. There are technologies that allow us to automate processes faster. There are technologies that support our new strategic goals of becoming more customer-centric and developing warmer customer relations. And by doing so, we can consolidate business processes and automate steps that have perhaps been making them less efficient or less responsive to how customers need to interact with us, or providing customers with additional insights and information to improve their experience and to also help us perhaps even cross-market products and services to better communicate to the customer what we have to offer and to also correspondingly increase our sales per customer based on the range of products and services we may have to offer. There are all kinds of factors and considerations that can go into how we can improve our operations. One of the most talked about aspects of this is the introduction of technology that now allows us to automate menial administrative tasks that have traditionally been carried out by humans. And so by doing so, we can replace humans that have been performing certain tasks as part of greater business processes, automate those tasks, and help the overall business process itself become more efficient, more reliable, and for those tasks to perhaps be completed even more accurately than humans have been previously. A key for that to be successful in many organizations is to have a plan in place for those human workers who will be affected by this to be retrained and reallocated to perform more meaningful tasks for the organization, because that allows culturally an organization to better adapt to the introduction of new automation technology, and therefore allows the organization internally to provide better support for the entire digital transformation initiative. So that's an underlying requirement that needs to be planned for, because despite the improvements that enhanced automation can provide, if it introduces resistance or anxiety about job loss or job security, then that can undermine the entire initiative. So those considerations need to be carefully planned ahead of time, and improved automation of operations can overcome inefficient operations more successfully, and that problem area underlies and supports many of the other solutions we've discussed so far for some of the other problem areas that digital transformation is there to address. Much of what we need to achieve with digital transformation comes down to how well, how successfully, and to what extent we can improve our operation automations. So the last problem area we're going to look at is inefficient decision-making. This is not about the quality of decision-making that is improved by digital transformation, by the introduction of enhanced data intelligence that executives and others who are responsible for making decisions can make. This is specifically about whether certain decisions can be delegated to the underlying digital transformation solutions themselves. With the incorporation of AI technology, neural networks, there is an opportunity to defer the responsibility of making certain decisions to the systems themselves. These are decisions that will have been traditionally been made by human decision makers, but not necessarily strategic or critical in nature, but relatively simple and straightforward. Such decisions can be delegated to the underlying systems, and these systems can carry out those decisions instantly, which can then further improve the automation of the business processes that incorporate those decisions as steps in how the processes are carried out. Having certain decisions delegated to underlying data science systems, of course, comes with risks, and we have to study that and understand exactly what it is we're asking these systems to do. But the fact that that opportunity is there for us allows us to take this seriously and see whether we can enhance how we carry out our business by taking a number of decision points away from humans and giving them to underlying systems. There are certain consequences to when this is done incorrectly, in that these systems can make a number of decisions in a row over time without us knowing, that can cause damage to our business. That's something we accept when we take the risk of doing this. However, there are significant benefits that often outweigh that risk. For example, these systems can make decisions instantly. These systems can learn from their decision making. We can input the result of previous decisions an AI system has made back into the AI system. It can study those results and then look at how it can improve its decision-making logic over time, so that the next time it makes certain decisions under certain circumstances, it does so with improved chances of success. So as time goes by, these systems can continually attempt to improve their own decision-making logic. Furthermore, these decisions can be carried out using complex input. So I said before that certain types of simple decisions can be delegated to data science systems. We're not limited to that. There are some decisions that have so much consideration in terms of input from different sources complex calculations, relationships between different types of things that a human decision maker would have to understand and factor in and fully comprehend in order to make the decision successfully. All those factors can also be given to an AI system to make the decision relatively instantly. So it's not just about whether the decision itself is simple or complex. Both types of decisions can be delegated to an AI system. It's really just about how safe it is to do so. Whether it's simple or complex, if the outcome of that decision is incorrect, if the damage to the business is deemed acceptable, then there's a good justification for delegating that to the AI system. Regardless, inefficient decision-making is something that digital transformation solutions improve. We need to understand where we can look at considering this, study how well decision-making logic can be delegated, and look at the consequences of it not being successful and look at the benefits of it being successful. And by doing so, and by introducing that additional ability that digital transformation solutions can provide us, we can further enhance our operations, apply it to improve customer satisfaction, and become more competitive and effective all around.
Thank you for listening. Follow Thomas on LinkedIn